succession of Jeb Henserling. Did that day before yesterday. Said a howdy to Van Taylor, who has succeeded Sam Johnson. And now, after the since 1984 tenure of Joe Barton, Ron Wright is Joe's successor in District 6. And it's a pleasure to say hi. I've known Ron forever, but the first time I get to say, morning, Congressman. How are you?
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me on the show.
We're going to dive into a bunch of issues, and boy, you've come in at a pretty busy time. But let me ask you what I asked your freshman brethren from Texas, and that is, you know it's coming. You win in November, so it's got some time to wrap your head around it. But being sworn in, and I know it was Nancy Pelosi, but hey, you're being sworn in. What was that like, and what have the first days been like?
Well, it's been terribly exciting and a bit of a whirlwind, but I'll tell you, it's just a huge honor to be a congressman, to represent people from the 6th District up here. Just a huge honor. I had a bit of an advantage over other freshmen in that I've been up here before when I was Joe Barton's chief of staff. So I knew where the men's room and the coffee pot were, which is important.
Yeah, it's very
But I'll tell you, the very first vote was to vote present in a roll call, to make sure we had a quorum, and putting the card in there and actually hitting that button really made it real for me, and it's different being the guy that actually votes.
Right.
So it's been exciting.
The technology changes. Let's dwell for just a second on how voting occurs. Describe to me the card, describe to me the button, and where are they, and how does that work?
At there's little boxes at the end of the row, every other row in the house. Mm-hmm. They're on the back of the seat. And there's a slot for a voting card, which looks like a credit card, about the size of a credit card, mm-hmm. has the member's picture on it. And there's a slot there. You just slip it in the slot, and then there's 3 buttons: yay, nay, and present, and you get to vote. And we started day one. I mean, we had like 9 votes on the very first day, so we weren't. We didn't wait long.
Hit the ground running. So you pop the card in. It knows it's you, and then you vote accordingly. However
right, and then up on the wall, it shows all every member's name and how they voted.
Is it heady stuff to look up on the wall and see your name?
It is. It was in the beginning. Yes, it was.
It's like, whoa, that's me, man.
I was so accustomed to seeing the name Barton.
Sure.
Up there. And it's an honor to follow him. I was on his staff for 11 years, and he was one of the most experienced members, highly respected up here. So to follow in his footsteps is an honor.
Now, it's a longevity thing, so it's not exactly like you got his office, which was pretty darn nice. So where are you, and are you in Cannon or Longworth?
I'm in Cannon, but I love my office. It looks out over the Madison Building across the street.
Yeah.
The offices in Cannon are larger than the ones in Longworth, mm-hmm. Smaller than Rayburn, but no freshman goes to Rayburn.
So. There's time. There's plenty of time.
Yeah. But no, I love my office, and it's 428 Cannon. Hope people will stop by when they're in Washington.
And it's funny. People go, "Oh, I can't." Well, you don't really stop by unannounced, but you make the call and you say, "Listen, I got the family. We're coming. We're going to do the tourist thing. Can we pop in and say, hey?" Joe is famous for welcoming all kinds of people, and it looks like that's something you don't mind as well.
Not at all. Not at all. I've been an elected official before. I know the importance of actually greeting people that I represent, and I look forward to doing that.
So here you are, Congressman Ron Wright. How's this shutdown thing working? What's the way out of this?
Well, I'll tell you what, the way out of it is for the Democrats to be more reasonable than they've been. Look, you're at a point where it's affecting real people, so it is a serious matter. But people do need to understand. People talk about a government shutdown. It's only about 25% of the government that is shut down. That's still a serious matter, but the Democrats need to negotiate seriously with the president. They've been very stubborn on this point because they think it benefits them politically. But what they're doing is they're putting the American people at risk. And for Speaker Pelosi to tell the Secretary of Homeland Security, well, I reject your facts, is irresponsible. You know, that she's welcomed her own opinion, but she's not welcomed her own set of facts. The facts are what they are. And the facts are, last year, in 2018, 17,000 illegal immigrants with previous criminal records were apprehended at the border, including 6,000 gang members. We know that, you know, of the 72,000 Americans that died from overdoses last year, a lot of that was heroin. 90% of the heroin that comes into the United States comes across that border. I mean, we can give you statistic after statistic that's bad news for the American people. And how much do Americans have to suffer before Democrats will finally say, you know what, the American people need to come first?
Yep. So the president's coming down to the border today, and we'll come back with, I'm sure, firsthand stories of how it's made clear to him what he wants to do and how right he has been all along. So is there, I've asked this to everybody, and I'm interested in your answer, where he stands firm on the $5.6 billion. I want every dime of that, but offers to the Democrats something they say has been important to them, and that's a path to citizenship for the current DACA kids, not future dreamers, because we'd never stop it.
Right.
But if you got a 16-year-old with a 4.0 or a 3.0, we'll be inclusive about this, who's been a great kid, and America's the only country he knows, we're not going to throw that kid back to Honduras or Mexico. So let's give them that path to citizenship for those kids in return for full wall funding. Is that a deal worth striking?
Well, I think it's something that's worth striking as long as border security comes first.
Correct. Thank you. Yeah, because you know what they'll do. You're totally right. You know what they'll do? They'll go, okay, give us that path to citizenship, and we promise to discuss border security in the next 5 fiscal years. Anew.
Listen, I have a little gray hair in my head. I remember the amnesty in 1986 and 87 under Ronald Reagan.
Yep.
Part of that deal was, yes, we're going to do amnesty, but we're also going to secure the border. Well, that part never happened.
No. And boy, let us all gather together and say 1,000 times, God bless Reagan. But he got rolled. And listen, you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Exactly.
Let's as the Who might say, won't get fooled again. So then, so I don't even think the Democrats would take that deal. I mean, I don't think they would, because I think I had both Lance and Van say that what you're going to learn from the Democratic Party if you offer them that deal is they've never really cared that much about the Dreamers, but what they do care about is stopping any effort to fortify the border.
That's right, because they believe that's going to benefit the president, and they're going to oppose anything that they think will benefit the president, including protecting the American people.
It's crazy. All right, well, staying on the crazy train, do you believe at some point you will put that card in that slot and presumably vote nay on articles of impeachment?
I believe that could very well happen. I think we know that there are members on the other side that want to do that say they're going to do it. The speaker, to her credit, realizes how tricky that is politically, and has been very lukewarm to the idea. But given what they've done so far, because I mean, it was very predictable. Starting day one, there was this huge lurch to the left in the House. They have a new rules package that was passed that almost every Republican opposed. It brought back the Gephardt rule. If those that don't know what that means, under Gephardt, the Democratic leader back in the 90s, he basically said, well, if we vote for the budget, then we're automatically voting for a debt increase. And so by reinstating that, House members will not be voting to raise the debt.
Right, because those specific debt limit increase votes can be very telling, and it brings specific accountability, and they want no part of that.
That's right. They did away with that. They did away with the 3/5 rule on tax increases. That makes it easier for them to raise taxes with only a simple majority. They did away with the Mexico City policy that goes back to the Reagan era, which prohibits U.S. funding from being spent overseas on abortion. all of this was done on the very first day.
They're busy. They are busy.
And our job is to stop all the bad stuff we can stop.
This is a recurring theme even today. I had Kevin Brady, your new colleague. He's been around since the middle of the Clinton years. 8th District, House Ways and Means ranking member. Now, I said, listen, he's a wonderful member of Congress. In fact, the last time his name came up on the show, I was talking to your new colleague, Dr. Michael Burgess, who said that if we keep the majority and the vote comes up for Speaker of the House, I'm voting for Kevin Brady. I said, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll get that opportunity here in a couple of years. But he said the same thing, that when you lose the majority, the conservative governing philosophy goes from let's see how many of our good ideas we can enact to a defensive posture of let's see how many of their bad ideas we can stop.
Right. I can tell you it's hard. When I came up to be chief of staff, we were in the minority, and I was still here when we gained the majority back in 2010. And I got to tell you, being in the majority is a lot more fun.
Yeah, but you've also heard it said that, and it's kind of funny, this is kind of glib, but there are moments when it's been true, that sometimes Republicans are at their best when we are out of power, and sometimes when we're in power, we get kind of fat and lazy. I think in the era of Trump, that's probably not true anymore, but
I would disagree that that's true right now, but I do get the point, and I think over time that happens to anyone who's in the majority.
Well, look, this is fantastic. I believe the website for you now is Wright, WRIGHT, Wright.house.gov. Got that right?
That's it.
Oh, yeah, very, very good. Well, listen, congratulations, sir. And I look forward to many, many conversations. Listen, we're going to call you whenever there's something we're wondering about. You please know that you can call us if there's ever anything you want us to know about from you, and we really appreciate you.
We'll do it, Mark. Thanks for
God bless. That is Congressman Ron Wright, 6th District of Texas.